welcome to my Yoga for Menstrual Health class. This practice is for the days that are a little less heavy. We're still taking our time, we're still moving slowly and really honoring our bodies. So through this class, we'll be focusing on the intuitive feeling in our practice. What feels good? Where can I slow down? Where can I stay and add an extra stretch? We'll be moving slowly but mindfully, honoring our bodies and tapping into our creative, emotional self. So today I'll be using a few props. I've got 2 blocks, 2 blankets, and a bolster. I just like to be extra comfy during my yoga practice, especially when I'm menstruating, because I just like feeling supported. So I'm going to have these props out. You don't have to have them. It's totally fine. All right, and we'll begin in a comfortable seat in our Sukhasana. If you'd like to add a cushion underneath you, you can sit on a blanket or on a bolster. If you're feeling a little rounded in your spine, or if your hips are a little tight, maybe your knees don't quite kind of rest, you can take 2 blocks and slide them underneath the knees for support. Let your hands rest on the knees, sit up nice and tall. Maybe you take a Gyan Mudra, index finger to thumb, or even peace signs to promote peace. Sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, and let's take a few cleansing breaths together. So exhale through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And a big exhale, sigh it out. 2 more, inhale. One more. Now seal your lips. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose. We want a breath that is smooth and long. You can feel the sound of the ocean in the back of your throat as you exhale. Just drawing our experience in a bit deeper into the pranamaya kosha, the breath body. On your inhale, reach your hands up and over your head so the palms touch. And on your exhale, pull the hands to heart center for your Anjali Mudra. In this space of expanding love, let's sing the sound of Om together. Inhale for Om. We are all connected. We are all one. Welcome to sacred space. Let's reach the hands up and overhead again. The palms touch. Twist to your left, reach across for the knee. Let's stay here for a few breaths. Inhale to lengthen the spine, exhale to deepen your twist. Feel your knees soften. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Take another breath here. What can we release? Inhale, reach the arms back up through center, and then exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to lengthen your spine, exhale to deepen your twist. As we twist, we release and we feel lighter. Create space with one more breath. And release back to center. Inhale, reach the arms high to touch. Then set your fingertips down by your sides to the floor. Let your head fall over to the left and breathe. center, head forward, chin to chest, and then over to the right. Take a deep breath. And just take that side to side a few times. Breath to movement here. And come back through center. We'll do some gentle movement in the shoulders. Start to roll your shoulders out in one direction. Big circles. And then take them in the opposite direction. And roll out the wrists, waking up the hands. In the other direction. And let's switch the cross of our legs. Bring the opposite foot on top. Fingertips are by your sides. Send the left arm high, side bend over. Take a deep breath here. And then we're going to swoop that hand forward. Take it all the way through center and over to the opposite side. Left arm is up and over your head. Take a deep breath here. Let's take that side to side. Exhale for the swoop forward. Inhale, rising up. Breath to movement. We're stretching out the low back here, really expanding into the heart space. Activating the center of compassion so that we can act compassionately toward ourselves, our bodies, and others. One more time, side to side. And then rise back up through center. Hands rest on the earth. Set the hands back behind you. Lift the heart. Draw the shoulders back. Option to stay here or lift the hips, rolling onto your knees. Take a deep breath. And set them back down. Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide. Again, you can use those blocks if that feels good. Inhale to lengthen your spine. On the exhale breath, begin to pull your heart forward. Keep the spine long at first, and then let your hands rest on the earth. Relax your head. Take a few breaths here. We're gently stretching the hips, just opening this pelvic space to ease the flow of our menstrual cycle, to help us let go and release what is no longer serving us. What are we holding on to in our lives that's actually holding us back? Where can we release expectation and judgment? Take 3 more breaths here, letting go and softening. And slowly begin to press yourself back up to center. We'll come into tabletop now, so you can move your blocks off to the side. We'll use them again soon. Hands and knees. Let your feet soften onto the floor. Let's move through our cat-cow pose. Inhale to lengthen the spine, gaze up. Exhale, cat, round the spine. Inhale to cow, gaze up. Exhale, chin to chest. And continue this breath to movement flow. And look side to side. And start to roll out the hips, making big circles with your hips. Take the circles in the opposite direction. Back to tabletop. Let's send the left arm high, reaching up, gaze up. Wrap that arm around your low back. Roll the shoulder open for a nice twist here. Lift the heart, lift your chin up to the sky, take a deep breath. Inhale, send the arm up. Exhale, thread the needle, bring your arm under your torso, your head rests on the mat. You can send your right arm forward, or you can wrap it around your low back for a deeper stretch. Let's take 3 breaths right here. And slowly begin to press yourself back up. Inhale, both hands to the floor. Other side, send the right arm high, gaze up. Wrap that arm around your low back. Roll the shoulder open and twist. Lift the chest up, lift the chin. Take a few breaths right here. Let's send the arm up. And then thread the needle on the exhale, reaching through. Rest your head on the floor. Option is straighten that arm out in front of you, or you can wrap it around your low back for a twist. 2 more deep breaths, just relaxing into the floor, into the earth. Slowly press yourself back up. Inhale, reach both hands to the floor. Let's take puppy pose. Walk the hands forward. Let the forehead rest on the ground. Option to lift your chin, looking forward. The tailbone tilts up. Press your feet into the earth. Take a deep breath. And then press into your elbows, coming onto your belly. We're in Sphinx pose now. So your elbows are stacked right underneath your shoulders. Your feet are as wide as the mat. Press through your hands. Inhale to lengthen the spine. On your exhale breath, imagine you're dragging your body forward so your hips move closer to your elbows. And just breathe here. Releasing tension in our lower back, and we're opening our heart space. Just allowing love to pour in and allowing any suffering to just pour out and release. Look over your right shoulder. Look back towards those right pinky toes and take a deep breath. Look back through center and over your left shoulder and back toward that left pinky toe. Take a deep breath. And look back through center. Let's lay down onto the floor, reaching your hands back by your sides. Take a few breaths here, just resting into the ground. Bend your knees, rock the feet side to side. Maybe you feel some tension release in the low back. Come to stillness, make some circles with the feet, roll the ankles out in one direction and then the other. Lay the legs back down, flip the palms down into the earth, and on an inhale breath, lift the chest up off of the floor. Just putting a little bit of pressure into the low belly. Light up the legs, press your feet into the ground. Draw the shoulder blades back and together. Take a deep breath here. And soften one cheek to the floor. Flip your palms open. Take a few deep breaths. And bring your hands under your shoulders. Press up to tabletop. We're going to take a child's pose, so feet together, knees wide as you'd like them to be. An option to use your bolster here as a support under your chest. You can also slide your blocks under there for an even more restorative posture. But just grab your bolster, let your head rest.
Let your elbows flatten onto the floor so your body is in a restorative posture here. We're resting, we're relaxing. Take a few deep breaths as you feel your hips soften. And just surrender. And turn your head in the opposite direction. Still breathing here, just softening into this space, this sacred space of emotion where we feel held and cared for. Where can you create space for more peace? Breathe into your hips. Feel any tension in the body melt away with each exhale. Take another deep breath. And slowly press yourself back up to your hands and knees for tabletop. We're going to lean the hips forward, so if you have a bolster or a pillow there, just lower the hips down, press through your hands, lengthening up through the spine for a nice, gentle, upward facing dog. And come back to tabletop. Move your bolster off to the side. Let's make some circles with the hips again here, in one direction and then the other. Now we're going to take downward facing dog. If you want to use your blocks here, you can, to make it a little more modified. Just depending on how your body's feeling today. If you're feeling energized, go ahead and press up into your downward facing dog. If you're feeling a little more slow, if you want to just kind of care for your body a little extra, find your blocks, place them under your hands, and we'll press up to our downward facing dog. Relax your head, really press through your hands and the tailbone high. And bend your knees as much as you'd like here, trying to get your heels as close to the earth as possible. Let's just take a few breaths. And now take your feet as wide as the mat, so a little bit wider in our stance. Lift the toes, spread the toes wide, try to get them off the mat. And let's turn the toes out 45 degrees, so your feet are kind of turned out to the side. And you can rock your hips side to side here. Let's make some circles, big circles. You can bend your knees. And then take those circles in the opposite direction. Come back to center. Begin to walk your hands back toward your feet. The toes are turned out. We'll sit down into our Malasana squat. Palms pressed together. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Take a few breaths here. Soften into the outer edges of your feet. Lengthen through the spine. Breathe into your sacred womb space.
feel energy pour down and out through the root chakra, down to the earth. And bring your hands to the floor. Straighten your legs. Heel toe your feet to hips width distance. Feet make a number 11. Your toes point forward. Bend your knees generously and grab your elbows for ragdoll. Feel your head release. You can rock side to side here. And release your hands to the floor. Walk the hands forward again for downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths here. And roll up onto your tiptoes. Bring the feet together. Set your knees down onto the floor. Let's sit back onto our heels for toe torture. Make sure those pinky toes get tucked under. Bring our hands to heart center here. Flip the palms forward so we're stretching out our hands. Shoulders roll back and away from your ears and breathe. And release your hands, shake it out. Bring your hands to the floor, untuck your toes, you can tap them out. Feet are flat, let's sit back on our hands. Set your hands back behind you, lift the chest, draw the shoulders back. Option to stay here, you can lift your knees off the mat, getting a nice stretch across the top of your feet. Keep the back of your neck long, lift the chest. Let's take a lion's breath in through the nose. And set the knees back down. We're going to take a restorative pigeon pose. So there's a couple different things you can do here. If you have a blanket, get that out. And we want to roll it up so that we have a round cylinder shaped prop to use. So roll up your blanket, and then you're going to use a bolster and 2 blocks. If you don't have all these props, just get a pillow of any kind and place that underneath you so at least you have that restorative experience for your chest. That's the most restorative part. So with your blanket that's rolled up, you're going to make an angle with it, and the right corner of your blanket is tilting up a little bit more than the left, so it's at a nice angle there. And then you're going to lift the bottom like downward facing dog, pull the right knee forward. So it's in front of that blanket, and when you lower down into your pigeon pose, you have this blanket supporting your pelvis and your right hip. Okay, now you can take your bolster, pull it into the hip crease so it's between your belly and your thigh. Start to panini press that bolster right there as you go forward. And then slide a block underneath the bolster here to support your head. And here we are in a restorative pigeon pose. You're going to look to your left and relax your elbows and just breathe here. Slow, deep breath. We store a lot of emotion in our hips. This is also the area where all of this transformation is occurring during our menstrual cycle. So we really just want to breathe into these spaces, really open them up and clear away any stuck energy. As women, we have this beautifully unique experience of shedding and letting go once a month. It's this intuitive process to us. Breathe into your hips. Where can you create space?
Let's take 3 more breaths right here. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can do that now. And then slowly begin to press yourself up. Move the bolster off to the side for a moment. Let's tuck our toes, press into your downward facing dog. Let's come down to our knees and now switch the blanket to where it's tilted in the opposite direction. Same thing here, lift the knees. Let's pull that left leg forward for our pigeon pose. Lowering down onto our blanket for support. Pull that bolster into the hip crease. Walk your hands forward, forward fold. Your gaze is over to the right. Try and level the hips out. Make sure you're not putting weight more into one or the other. And take a few deep breaths to soften in first. And then slowly begin to relax. Using as little effort as possible to stay here in this posture. And just breathe and let go. Let's take 2 more breaths right here. And then slowly begin to press ourselves back up. And this time we're just going to bring our right leg in front of us so that we come to a seat. Let's move the blanket off to the side. You can use your bolster now. Place it underneath your knees. Send the legs straight out in front of you. Take a seated forward fold here. So lengthen up through your spine. Reach the hands up and over your head. And then lengthen out. Reach for your toes, your ankles, or your shins. And take a forward fold here, relax your head, and just breathe. Feel prana, the creative force within you, just flow through. Like a circle of energy, you pull it into the crown of your head, and you send it down the spine, out through the legs, into the crown of the head, down your spine, out through the legs. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And slowly roll back up. We're going to come onto our backs. So you may want to have your head supported on a blanket. I like that on the floor. We're going to take a restorative bridge pose. So lift your hips and rest them on your bolster or your pillow, whatever you're using. And If you don't have a prop at all, just let your spine rest on the floor. Feet are at hips width distance, or you can let the knees knock in toward each other. So bring your hands to your womb space and take a nice deep breath here. If you experience any bloating or any low back pain during your menstrual cycle, this is a really nice posture to just relieve the weight that we put into the lumbar spine, to relieve the pressure that is always in our hips. It's bearing a lot of our weight, so this is a nice way to just let everything in the hip complex relax and soften. We're holding space for ourselves here. Sacred space to heal, to grow more intuitively, more expansive. How does it feel to be here in this space? How does it feel to be still and to listen to our bodies, our mind, our thoughts, our breath? This is where we truly get to know our authentic self. Let's lift the hips. If you have a prop, slide that out of the way. You can just push it down so that your knees are supported. Send the legs out long. Pull your right knee into your chest and around the rib cage towards your right shoulder. Just take a few breaths here, softening into the hip. We'll take a supine twist. Draw your knee across your body with the left hand. Gaze is out to the right. And breathe. Take another deep breath here. Is there anything left to let go of? Release back to center. We'll switch legs. Pull the left knee in. Pull it towards your shoulder here and just soften, creating space in the hip. And let's draw that knee across the body. Supine twist. Your gaze is out to the left, and just breathe here. And release back to center. Pull your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Lift your chin up to your knees. Take a deep breath in. And a big exhale to release and let go into Shavasana. Arms and legs go long. If you have another blanket or a pillow near you, you can lay it over your hips. This will feel good. Just applying a little bit of gentle pressure on
down to our uterus and our ovaries so that they feel held and cared for. Lift the chest, kind of shimmy your shoulders together so your palms roll open. And we'll take 3 deep cleansing breaths in through your nose. Big exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. One more. And let your breath soften as you rest into your Shavasana. As we soften into our bliss body. Rest in peace here as your body restores and gently fades into bliss. You're welcome to stay here as long as you would like, resting in your Shavasana. And when you feel ready, just begin to invite tiny movements into your fingers and toes. And turn your head side to side as you arrive back into your material body. Reach your hands up and over your head, taking a nice stretch. And then roll over onto either side, supporting your head with your arm. And just stay here for a moment in this fetal position, honoring the natural cycles of our life, of our menstrual cycle, of the moon. There are cycles and patterns everywhere happening all the time in our seasons, throughout the day, in our life. May we be in tune with these cycles. May we listen intuitively to our body's needs and to the needs of nature and those around us. I honor the natural cycles of life. And slowly press up to a seat, returning to where we began in our Sukhasana, easy seat. Let your hands rest on your knees, sit up tall and close your eyes. And this time let's bring our hands to our womb space, cradling the lower belly. You can make an upside down triangle connecting your thumb and your index fingers. Just take a few breaths into this space. I honor the cyclic nature of my body. I listen to my needs, and I care for myself from a space of compassion. Compassionate listening and compassionate care. My body is a sacred temple of wisdom, of light, of beauty, and of love. On an inhale breath, reach your hands up and over your head so the palms touch. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart space. Let's seal our practice with the sound of Om, the sound of every vibration and of all the silence, the sound that reminds us that we are all connected, we are all one. Inhale. It is an honor to share this sacred space with you. The light and the beauty within me bow to the light and the beauty within you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much.